So welcome to the Spring Technology Showcase, and today we're going to be talking about some options you have for peer reviewing assignments. As I was prepping it, it's some of the tools make it a little challenging to show you what it looks like from the student perspective, but we'll do the best we can to show you. Dory, welcome. Anyway, so peer review. Maybe we can hear from our folks that have joined us. What kind of peer review do you do, Seth and Dory? Okay. Well, I'll just assume it's the usual peer review then, and we'll move forward. So within Learning Suite, one thing that you can do, of course, is, okay, Mariah came back too. Great. All right, so one thing you can do, obviously, within Learning Suite is to create a digital dialogue. And then within, you could make it an assignment or not. That doesn't matter. In this case, I did just so that it would show on this assignments page. But then in this case, I selected groups as the participant. That way, the members of the group will only see each other's dialogue information, and in the dialogue information, I created separate discussions with each selected group. And so if we go in and actually see this, well, we don't want to score it. Sorry. I'll just go to digital dialogue and show you. Then if I've got this, here I've got one group, another group, there we go. Here's a group that has done some work. So Jane student has submitted this paper. Bob student has looked at it, gave her a little feedback. Here Maku has sent in a paper, and both Bob and Jane have given him feedback on it, and they can just reply to each other's replies and so forth. And so that's a nice way. Now in this case, they're not like scoring it or doing anything like that, just offering feedback. They could potentially download the papers they're supposed to review, mark them up and re-upload them as a reply. So there's lots of ways to go about that. Any questions about that at this point? So that's your first option, is to just set up digital dialogues with small groups, allow them to post their work or instruct them to post their work and give each other feedback, and you're good to go. Another tool that you may already be familiar with, but maybe you didn't know that it had peer review, is Turnitin. So if you create an assignment and have the submission method Turnitin, or if you're still on the old version of Learning Suite, you'll have, after you select Learning Suite as a submission method, there will be a checkbox to include Turnitin. So we do have okay. Thank you for your comment there, Dory. So obviously this not a great assignment description, but we can set it up make it worth however many points we want. The nice thing is any points that get sent back from Turnitin will just be a percentage, and that's good. Okay, great. Dory uses digital dialogue as a means of peer review. So let's show you in, we'll create a new assignment just so you can see. But if I peer review 2 and I keep that an assignment and make it Learning Suite Turnitin, add it to this peer review assignment, make it due June 27th or something. I can save that. And they're working to fix a little quirk in the new version. Currently, they don't have a button to launch Turnitin. But if you find yourself using the new version, wanting to get around that, if you just come to grades and come to originality check, then any Turnitin assignment is here. And so if I click that, that's going to give me my assignment settings. And one of the things I can do is click Enable Peer Mark. Once I submit that, then it's going to give me this peer mark drop down, and I can set up the peer mark assignment. I can give them instructions here, make the peer review worth 10 points or whatever. I can change the dates that are available for when the students can start reviewing, and when they can start, when it's due, and when the student will be able to start seeing the peer feedback. And in here, I can add questions. They have a library of questions, and you can click that and add those to what the students are going to use to review each other's work. You can decide whether you can pair the students or couple them. You can continue to add questions. So and you can set a minimum length, like you have to do at least 100 words, or maybe 10 words, or 15 words, or whatever, and and so forth. And then when you're done, you create the peer mark assignment, and you're good to go. And then the students, once they come in, they'll see that. So let's go back to this, and where we can see some that's already been done. If I come to peer mark reviews, I can see here that Jane has submitted 1 of 1, and I can review that. And are you guys, can you see this little box that has the history of Swiss cheese? I may have to change my share.
I can't see it.
Okay, so we'll share that. So what comes up is they get their peers' paper along with the questions that that you asked them to do, so they can mark any scale scores and type in comments. 500 word minimum is ridiculously long, so I'm not going to actually do this, but they can read the paper. They can make comments on the paper, so they can come here and make comments directly on the document, and those will show up here. And then, like, if I have a comment up here, And so we make a comment here. Then we can jump to those comments by just clicking here. And then when they're done submitting, they submit and so forth. So let me share my screen again here. And so that's kind of what the Turnitin looks like. But when a student goes in, proxy. Comes into this, and the tricky part is you probably have to teach your students that they go, well, where am I supposed to go to do my peer review? What they have to do is actually click this resubmit button, and that will take them into Turnitin, and then they need to go to this peer mark review tab to find the peer reviews that they're supposed to do. And so let me share this. So that opened up this for Bob, student, and he can go ahead and submit that. Let's see, is there a way to close it? Nope, we're just going to have to submit. Okay. So there is a little bit of clunkiness to the process and due dates in Turnitin that aren't visible in the learning management system because it has multiple due dates, and of course Canvas and Learning Suite only really allow one due date per student. And so it's a little awkward that way, but it can be pretty good. And if you set up good questions for the students to answer and also show them how you can mark up an entry, then you can, it's a nice place to do the peer review that's maybe a little easier to view for the students than what they might get in digital dialogue. So another option that is available, unfortunately, we can't show you a whole lot of the process, is Perusall peer review. And that's an external plugin that's normally considered a social annotation tool, but what they have is a new assignment type. Oops, I'm still in as the student. And that's one of the reasons why I can't show you that, because I can't create that account for the student. There it is. But we'll show you. So here we've got Perusall, and we launch it, and so we get this peer review assignment. And so if we wanted to create another assignment, we could add an assignment. And create a peer review assignment. And here's kind of what that looks like. Are you guys seeing my add peer review assignment window? Okay. So you just name it. So number 2, and so you set the due date for when the student has to submit their work. You set a due date for when the students have to submit their review. The instructor can have a little time to review those. And then you can also have a due date for when the author needs to respond to any peer review. You go to the next step, and this is where you can set up criteria, and you can describe what each point level looks like and so forth. I'm not going to do that for the sake of time, but I'll just go with what I have here. But you set up next, you can give the students instruction on what your expectations are for them. You can assign this peer review to the entire class or subsets of the class. I typically just do the full. You can set visibility earlier and so forth, and you can make posting of comments to peers as anonymous or not anonymous. So we'll keep it anonymous. And then you set up, because Perusall will actually auto score a lot of this for you. And so you can give a percentage like, okay, if you submit your paper in the first place, you can change this to like 10%, except for I don't think it allows you to do that in the assignment. I have to go to another place to set this up, but and this explains to you what all these scores mean. But basically, if they submit their paper in the first place, they get 5%. If they submit any in-text comments, they get 30%. If they submit the rubric that you provided for them, they get 5%. And then they also get 50% of their grade based on the scores that they receive from their peers, and then up to 30%. Now, obviously, that's more than 100%, and so that just gives them a variety of ways to get to 100%. And that's the last step. So we'll just click OK, and the assignment's set up. And it takes a really long time for some reason for Perusall to close that assignment down. So let me just close this out because I don't really need it. So we've got the two assignments here now, and I can link those to Learning Suite assignments by making sure they're named the same and everything. So unfortunately, I don't have a student where I can show you what the student's experience is, but they go in and they submit the paper, and then they can go in later, and once there's submissions for them to review, it will assign them their reviews, and they can use that rubric and comment directly on the paper. It very much like what you saw in Turnitin, only Perusall's selection tools and commenting tools are perhaps a little bit more user-friendly. Okay, now another type of review tool that you can use is GoReact. But this isn't for papers. This is for, say, let's say your students are creating videos and you want the students to review each other's videos. Or maybe they're recording a performance. So like, let's say you're in teacher ed and students are going to present to a small group of students as a practice lesson, and use GoReact to record the lesson. Then other peers, including the instructor, could come back in later in GoReact and review the video. So let's look at how you'd set up a GoReact, and then we'll go into the GoReact assignment and show you what that looks like. So we'll say go React peer review number 2. We select external plugin as the assignment type, just like we did with Perusall. And when we go to the external plugin, Perusall's there for if you were doing a Perusall assignment, but in this case we want Go React, and so we save that, and we have to put it into category and give it a due date. And we can give some instructions and save. And then we can launch. Nope, we have to. Did not get saved. Okay, error saving assignment. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to guess that's probably a little issue we're having with the new version. So I'm going to come out, refresh that. Assignment, external plugin. Just 2. Oh, forgot the due date. Okay, and then I can come to this one, launch Go React. And I can either start with a blank activity, or if I've created an activity previously, I can either copy it from another class or create a template that I reuse. So we'll go with blank activity. What we want to do is a standard assignment type where students submit videos and then their peers can comment on it. The privacy, rather than private, what we do is either closed or open peer review. In Go React, a closed peer review is everybody can see everybody's video, but if it's a closed peer review, students can't see each other's comments on their peers' videos. Open peer review is everybody can see everybody's comments. Now on closed peer review, the owner of the video can see all the comments on their video. Just if Joshua and I were reviewing, say, Seth's video, Seth could see my comments and Joshua's comments, but I could only see my comments on Seth's video and Joshua could only see his comments on Seth's video, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's do a closed peer review, and then we can do things like we can turn off the live review if we don't want that. We have all these options that we won't go into all of them because this isn't necessarily a Go React training. On the 25th of June, we are doing a more extensive Go React training. So if any of you do like performance-based skills and things like that that you want to learn more, that would be a great time to come. But we can give feedback settings, so we could score it with a rubric, and select a rubric to put in there. We can also we could also make this not scored but have a participant rubric. And when it's participant rubric, that means it doesn't contribute to the score for the thing, but it allows peers that are reviewing it to fill out a rubric. And so I've pre-created a rubric, but you can create your own rubrics by bringing in, scales. So there's numerical and quantitative scales, scores. You can do check boxes. So like if something's present or not, you can just do straight points on things, like give them, 10 points on that and 10 points on that, whether it's checked or not, and so forth. I'm going to cancel this because I don't really need this. But that participant rubric allows, again, the peer reviewers to fill out a rubric based on the video. Marker sets are where you can create little buttons that students can press to give feedback on something. So like in public speaking, for example, you could set up a filler word, just used one, filler word marker that students could review their peers' presentation, and anytime they use a filler word, they mark it, and that way the student gets feedback of where they used filler words, and also will get a count of how many times they did. So that can be helpful. That's not the only use case. Hopefully you can just get an idea of what it is. So you have all those different options and so forth. So we'll create that as done, but we'll show you this first one that I did where we actually have some people that have, one person that has submitted. So Bob submitted and Jane gave some feedback. And so at these different points
more
in
successful
the videos,
if they plan just to tackle those patterns. Essentially, Keystone have already subscribed to this channel. Don't worry, the other content's not going away. Just to tackle it. More successful if they plan in advance what they're going to do when there's a pain point, when something difficult comes up. The example Duhigg gave in the book was of people who had knee replacement surgeries. People who had the surgery have to go through lots of painful.
So that way they can comment on each other's videos or performances. If there were a rubric associated with this particular one, that would show up in this list. So it'd have comments and rubric and details and so forth. And that's where the students could fill it out. And you can come in and you'll get to see, as the instructor, you'll get to see all of the videos along with all of the comments made on those videos. Now, the tricky part with GoReact is that it does not have a mechanism for automatically assigning who reviews whom, and so you will have to either in the instructions in the assignment itself. So if I edit this and I give feedback instructions, I could put in this little box, I could put in who's supposed to review whose video, or I could do that in, for example, the assignment description in Learning Suite. Okay, so I'll cancel that because I didn't really change anything. Okay, so there's those options: Turnitin, Peruse All, GoReact, and Digital Dialogue in Learning Suite. Canvas has similar options because you can access GoReact, Turnitin, and Peruse All from Canvas. Obviously, like Digital Dialogue, you could do a peer review discussion in Canvas, and Canvas does have an option where if I edit this, I can have my students upload a paper. So I do have to make it a like file upload or a text upload or what have you. But I can make it a peer review requirement. Now, that's kind of handy feature. But I have heard several people who have used it not be totally in love with how Canvas does the peer reviews. Unfortunately, I can't really show you because I only have one test student in Canvas, so I could show you how you submit the assignment, but I can't show you how the peer review interactions work because there's no other submissions. So I'm a little bit limited there in what I can show you. But it works and it's handy, but I have heard that it does have limitations, so just be aware. So Canvas has that one other kind of built-in option, and you have basically these four main options for peer review within Learning Suite. So at this point, I'd just like to take any questions or concerns or suggestion that you may have at this point, because we've pretty much shown you what we can today. But hopefully you learned about a few new options that you maybe didn't know that were available to you. And yeah, thoughts, questions?
Hey, Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, I can,
I was
Richard.
just wondering, you showed us on Turnitin how to get into the peer review. Is there going to be a better way to get into that, or is that just the way we need to know to get in to do the recent assignment?
In the like, if I'll share the old version really quick of Learning Suite. So normally in a Turnitin, there's just this button, launch Turnitin from right here, and it'll open it up in a new tab, and you can come here to peer mark and see the thing. So you shouldn't have to navigate, and that will be that button is going to be re-added to the new version of Learning Suite. It just, as they were building all these new features with the new look, that one thing got overlooked, and it's being fixed as we speak. Somebody is working on that.
Okay, thanks.
No, right this second, but yeah, it will be there.
Okay, thanks.
Good question, though. Thank you. When is the new version of Learning Suite coming out? That is going to be, it's actually available now, right? Because you can come here and opt into it. So if you come here and switch from this little gearbox, you can open your preferences, come to Legacy, and opt in. But starting June 21st, we're going to be switching from opting into the new Learning Suite to being able to opt out. So everybody will default into the new version, and all you have to do once you select that is refresh, and there it is, the new version. And in fact, in 2 weeks, we're going to be, there won't be this particular this particular training won't be occurring that week, because we'll be doing training on this Wednesday at this time, and Thursday at 11, and then a couple of times the next week on showing everybody the new version of Learning Suite. And so if you want to see when those times are, if you come to teaching at BYU, teaching.byu.edu, and come to upcoming trainings and workshops, we're doing the peer review tool training right now. Next week for this session, we have the teamwork and leadership review tool, which we hope you'll show up for and learn a little bit about. And then we do have some other trainings related to incorporating the aims into your courses. But then Wednesday 18th, 19th, 24th, and 24th and 26th, we'll be previewing New Learning Suite in its entirety and showing you how it works and new features that are included, improved, enhanced functionality with the new version and stuff like that. So if you just go to teaching.byu.edu and check out the upcoming trainings and workshop schedule, you can register for any of those events. Now, as far as the spring showcase, you're already registered for the whole series. So you're welcome to come to whichever ones you choose to come to, okay? Let's stop the share. That's a great question. Any other questions? And I apologize for being limited on what I could show you from the student's perspective on some of those tools. That's not a bad thing. It's actually just good, better, even tighter security on some of those. With Perusall, I have my fake students, and because they're not actually associated with real emails, Perusall wouldn't let me set up accounts for them, so I couldn't show you Perusall. We could show you, we were able to show you Turnitin and Go React and Digital Dialogue, so that was good. All right. Any other questions? Dory, I'm glad you found it helpful. I hope others found it useful. At least you know about some of your options now for peer review, and we have been looking at some other third-party tools that are pretty slick, but because new technology acquisition is a tricky thing to navigate at BYU, it may take a while for some of those things to come on board. So thank you so much for coming. That's pretty much what we have for you. Although I'll be happy to stick around and answer questions for a few minutes if anybody has anything. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.